Hello boys and girls, it's good to be with you again. One of my favourite TV programmes from last year was the Great British Bake Off, a competition to see who the best baker in Britain is. And on that programme there are 3 challenges. The signature bake, where the contestants bake something that they've baked 1,000 times before. A tried and tested recipe that can't go wrong. And then there's the technical bake, where they're all given the same instructions and the same ingredients, and their finished bake has to look like the example they've been shown. And then there's the showstopper bake. This is the contestants' chance to show off their baking talent and to do something completely different. And some of the contestants really take a risk with this. They don't do something safe, but produce something really fancy, really special. And it's usually the person who's taken a risk at baking something different and difficult that wins, rather than the person who has played it safe and done what they are comfortable with. I have a story to tell you today about someone who could have been a really great chef if he had just taken a risk and did something different and maybe a wee bit more difficult. But he was too afraid and just did what he always did. This is the story of Fred, the fried egg chef. There was once a boy whose name was Fred, whose dream was to become a world-famous chef. He wanted to make meals that would delight people in high-class restaurants and hotels. He wanted people to enjoy the food he cooked. Fred started off learning to cook fried eggs. He made fried eggs for breakfast, fried eggs for lunch, fried eggs for tea, and soon he was excellent at making fried eggs. His mum and dad thought so too. "These fried eggs are exceptional," said Mum. "Exquisite," agreed Dad. And every day Fred would make fried eggs for his mum and Dad. When it was time for Fred to leave school, it just so happened that a world-famous chef, Pierre Peut-être, was looking for a new chef to join his world-famous hotel, where he had a world-famous fine dining restaurant. Fred went to meet the famous chef in his famous restaurant. Pierre Peut-être said to Fred, "Before I give you the job, you must cook something for me." "What do you like to cook?" asked Pierre. "I like to cook fried eggs," said Fred. "Well, that is exactly what you shall cook for me," said Pierre. Fred was very excited and cooked the fried eggs for the famous chef just as he would for his mum and dad every single day. And when the famous chef, Pierre Peut-être, tasted the eggs, he exclaimed that these were the best fried eggs he had ever tasted. "Thank you, sir," said Fred. "You can start working in my world-famous restaurant straight away, and every time I want fried eggs, I want you to make them for me," said the world-famous chef, Pierre Peut-être. Fred was ecstatic, and that was no exaggeration. Fred became a chef in the world-famous hotel, just as he had dreamed of when he was a small boy. Fred worked with the other chefs in the kitchen of the world-famous hotel with the world-famous fine dining restaurant. Each and every day, The world-famous chef would ask for fried eggs for breakfast, and Fred would make them for him. And so life went on. One day, the chefs were told that the hotel was to host an extravagant banquet for some very special people. The chefs were very excited. "What an opportunity to use our skills and show off our talents," said the other chefs. And they started to discuss their menus, what they would cook for this exceptional banquet. Fred thought to himself, "I could make a starter, a lovely pot of soup with lots of vegetables." But then Fred began to worry. What if I overcook the vegetables, and what if the soup is too salty? Too many things could go wrong. Oh no, it's too risky. I won't make soup at all. What about a main course, he thought to himself. I could make a fancy pizza with cheese and mushroom and fresh tomatoes. But then he began to worry. What if I burn the pizza base? What if the mushrooms are too rubbery and the tomatoes are too ripe? Too many things could go wrong. Oh no, it's too risky. I won't make a pizza at all. Then Fred thought, well, he could make a dessert for the banquet, a wonderful cake with sponge and cream and topped with fresh berries. But then he began to worry. What if the sponge doesn't rise? What if the cream is too thick? What if the berries make the cake all soggy? Too many things could go wrong. Oh no, it's too risky. I won't make a cake after all. And so the day of the extravagant banquet came, and the chefs were in the kitchen, baking and cooking and boiling and frying. Soon the lovely aromas filled the hotel. Up in his room, Fred could smell the delicious food, and he listened as the guests arrived, and he heard the cheers and roars as each exquisite course was served. The starter, the main course, the dessert. Fred thought to himself, maybe those cheers could have been for me, but what if it had all gone wrong? Oh, that would have been a disaster. No, the risk was too much. I will stick to what I know I can do. I will just make fried eggs. And that is exactly what he did. He made fried eggs day after day after day, and he never did become a world-famous chef. Fred didn't like to take risks. And sometimes that's quite right. We shouldn't take risks, especially we shouldn't take risks when we're crossing the road. We should always look left and right and wait for the green man. But there are other times when it's good to take a risk. Perhaps join a new club or take up a new sport or a new hobby. And we might be a bit nervous at first at trying something new. But the Bible tells us that God will always be with us and that we shouldn't be afraid. Sometimes we just need to step out and try something new and don't end up like Fred, making fried eggs day after day after day for the rest of our lives. See you again soon. Until then, stay home, stay safe. God bless.